For years without a single call, not a message, not even a "are you okay?" And now, suddenly, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Why? Because the same family who told me I was a failure, a disappointment, and a burden just found out I became successful. And now, they want a piece of it. But before I tell you what happened when they showed up at my door, you need to know why they abandoned me in the first place. Because the truth, it still hurts. My name is Emily Carter, and 4 years ago, I lost my entire family in one single night. Not to death, but to something much colder. Rejection. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. Nothing fancy, just quiet streets, small houses, and people who knew everyone's business. My dad was the kind of man who believed one thing: success means security. Doctor, lawyer, engineer. Those were the only futures he respected. And me, I wanted something completely different. I wanted to create stories, films, videos, content that made people feel something. But in my house, that dream was a joke. Every time I mentioned it, my dad would laugh. "Emily, be serious. You can't build a life playing with cameras." My mom didn't laugh. She just stayed quiet. And somehow that silence hurt even more. Things got worse when I turned 20, because that's when I made the decision that changed everything. I dropped out of college, not because I was lazy, not because I couldn't handle it, but because I realized something terrifying. If I kept living the life my parents wanted, I'd wake up one day at 40 and hate the person in the mirror. So I quit, and I told them the truth. I'm going to start creating content online. YouTube, short films, storytelling. I remember the exact moment my dad looked at me. He didn't yell. That would have been easier. He just stared at me like I was nothing. Then he said something I will never forget. "If you walk away from this family's expectations, don't expect this family to support you." Silence filled the room. My heart was pounding. But I said it anyway. "I'm not asking for support." Big mistake. Because that's when everything exploded. My dad slammed his hand on the table. "You're throwing your life away." My brother started laughing. "Internet videos? Seriously?" And my mom? She finally spoke. But not the way I hoped. "Emily, maybe you should listen to your father." That was the moment I realized something. I wasn't fighting for my dream. I was fighting alone. That night turned into the worst argument our family had ever had. Words were said, doors were slammed, and eventually my dad said something that changed my life forever. "If you walk out that door to chase this fantasy, don't come back." My chest tightened. Was he serious? I looked at my mom, waiting, hoping she would stop him. But she looked away, and in that moment, I understood. No one was going to fight for me. So I grabbed my backpack, just a few clothes, my camera, and about $300 in my bank account. Then I walked out. No hugs, no goodbye, just silence. That night, I slept in my car. I wish I could say I felt brave. But the truth, I cried. A lot. Because chasing your dreams sounds exciting. Until you realize you're doing it completely alone. And the worst part, for the first few months, my dad was right. My videos barely got views. 10 views. Sometimes 5. Sometimes none. Bills started piling up. I worked random jobs. Coffee shops. Cleaning offices. Delivering food at night. And every single time life got hard, one thought kept coming back. Maybe my family was right. Maybe I really was a failure. Then one night, everything changed. It was 2 a.m. I had just finished editing a short emotional story video. I almost didn't upload it, but something inside me said, "Just post it." So I did. Then I went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was exploding with notifications, comments, shares, messages. The video had 2 million views. I thought it was a glitch, but it wasn't. For the first time, people were listening. And that one video changed my entire life. Because within a year, my channel grew faster than I ever imagined. Sponsors started reaching out. Brands wanted collaborations. And eventually, I built something that once felt impossible. A real career, a real income, a real life, without my family. For years past, for years of silence. No calls, no texts, nothing. Until last week, when suddenly my phone lit up with a name I hadn't seen in years. Dad. My heart stopped. Why now? Why after 4 years? I hesitated, but curiosity won. So I answered, and the first thing he said made my stomach drop. Emily, we need to talk. But that wasn't the worst part, because 5 minutes later, I discovered why my family suddenly remembered I existed. And what they wanted from me was something I never expected. And honestly, it might destroy the little piece I've built. Emily, we need to talk. My dad's voice sounded different, quieter, almost nervous. That alone felt strange, because this was the same man who once told me not to come back. So why now? Why after 4 years of silence? For a moment, I didn't say anything. I just held the phone, my heart beating faster with every second. Finally, I asked one simple question. Why are you calling me? There was a pause, a long one. Then he said something that made my chest tighten. Your mom, she wants to see you. That sentence hit me like a wave, because in 4 years, my mom had never once tried to contact me. Not a birthday message, not even during holidays, nothing. So suddenly she wanted to see me? Why? Before I could ask, my dad continued. She's been watching your videos. That caught me off guard. My videos? You're doing well, he said carefully. I almost laughed. Doing well. 4 years ago, I was a disappointment. Now, suddenly I was doing well. Funny how success changes people. But something still felt off. There was something he wasn't saying, and I could feel it. So I asked, what do you really want? Another silence. This one heavier. Then the truth started slipping out. You know your brother, Jason? Of course I knew Jason. The same brother who laughed at me the night I left. What about him? I asked. My dad cleared his throat. He started a business last year. I stayed quiet, and it didn't work out. Still quiet. Now he's in some financial trouble. There it was. The real reason. My stomach sank, but he kept talking. And we were thinking. Thinking what? Maybe you could help him. The room suddenly felt smaller. Help him? After everything? For years of silence. And the first thing they asked for is money. I couldn't believe it. But my dad wasn't done. You've done very well for yourself, Emily. We're proud of you. Proud. That word almost hurt more than the request. Because where was that pride 4 years ago? Where was it when I slept in my car? Where was it when I cried at night, wondering if I made the worst mistake of my life? Now suddenly they were proud. Now suddenly they were family again. I didn't know whether to laugh or hang up. But then my dad said something that made my hands freeze. Jason needs about $200,000. $200,000. Just like that. Like he was asking to borrow a jacket. My mind went blank. Did they really think things worked like that? That they could disappear for 4 years, then walk back into my life like nothing happened? I didn't answer immediately. And he noticed. Emily, he said. I took a slow breath, trying to stay calm. You kicked me out, I said quietly. Silence. You told me not to come back. More silence. And now you're asking me for money? My voice wasn't loud, but it carried 4 years of pain. My bedside. That was a long time ago. A long time ago. Like it was just a small misunderstanding. But it wasn't. It was the night I lost my family. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then something unexpected happened. My dad's voice softened. Your mom feels terrible about that night. That surprised me. She cried when she saw your first viral video. He continued. Wait, what? She watches almost every video you post. My chest tightened again. Why didn't she ever reach out then? Why stay silent for 4 years? I asked him that exact question, and his answer shocked me. She thought you hated us. Hated them? I closed my eyes. All those years we were both waiting, both hurting, both silent, because we thought the other side didn't care. How did things get this broken? But then reality came back. Jason, the money, the request. I couldn't ignore that part. So I asked the question that had been sitting in my chest the entire call. If I wasn't successful, would you still be calling me? The silence that followed told me everything. My dad didn't answer. He couldn't, because we both knew the truth. Then suddenly, a new voice appeared on the phone. Soft, familiar. Emily, my heart stopped. It was my mom. The first time I heard her voice in 4 years. And instantly, tears filled my eyes. She sounded older, fragile. I'm sorry, she whispered. Just 2 words. But they carried years of regret. I should have stopped your father that night, she continued. I should have fought for you. My throat tightened, because that was all I ever wanted. Anyone to fight for me. I'm proud of you, she said quietly. And this time, it felt real. Not like my dad's words. But still, the question remained. Jason, the money, the reason they called. My mom hesitated, then said something I never expected. You don't owe us anything. I blinked. What? We made mistakes, she continued. Terrible ones. But we didn't call just for money. That confused me. Then she said the thing that completely changed the moment. We called because we miss you. The room went silent. For years of anger. For years of distance. And suddenly everything felt complicated. Were they being honest? Or was this just guilt talking? I didn't know. But one thing was clear. My next decision would change everything. Not just for me, but for my entire family. So I took a deep breath and finally gave them my answer. But what I said next is something none of them expected.